Hi and welcome. So today I want to share with you how emotional eating and the body and trauma are connected and how we need to include the body in resolving this pattern. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. And I wanted to share this with you because a lot of the times when we are trying to resolve our emotional eating, and I know this was the same case for me when I was trying to do this for myself, is that we think we have to just change the way we think about things and we have to try to control our body, control food, and it's almost like our mind is in charge and we forget about our body, or we make our body our enemy. And so we're trying to control our body, but we might also go to the extremes of using pills or even surgery, thinking something is wrong with our body, not understanding how it's all interconnected into this pattern. And so this was something that I wasn't aware of either. I just sort of step by step, trial and errored my way through this until I figured out what was really going on with my emotional eating and how there were so many layers to this. So emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's when we use food to soothe ourselves from any stress, discomfort, uncomfortable emotions. And this pattern usually develops when we're very young. And it's hard for us to kind of see this pattern, the early signs of it, because it doesn't look the same. And it sort of snowballs, and we add in the diets and the exercise and the way we treat our body, and it all becomes really kind of multi-layered, and there's sort of all of these limiting ideas along with our emotional eating. But what happens is that our emotional eating feels so out of control, and we feel so out of control around food and our body. We have so many obsessive thoughts about food and our body, and we just want to get it controlled. We just want to be okay. We want to feel okay in ourselves. We want to feel at peace. We want to feel that ease. We don't want to obsess, and we want to do anything we can to stop this. We just want relief. And that puts us in a really vulnerable position, because a lot of the solutions that are sold to us out there are telling us to control food, to restrict food. We have this diet mentality, or, we need to push harder at the gym. We're not exercising enough. We're not doing enough with our bodies. And then we completely detach from our emotions. We are not looking at them at this deeper level. And so I want to explain to you how the body is so important in this pattern. It's not just about thinking a certain way or knowing all the facts about food or knowing all the facts about your body. We have to dive deeper into the body and start using the body to help us resolve this pattern. And so part of the reason is that it's through our body we're going to get a lot of feedback from the things that we're doing to resolve this pattern. And we're actually going to access the deeper sort of unresolved emotions that live in the body that are running this pattern. And so when we keep thinking, we can just think our way out of this, which is a lot of willpower. And willpower is good to get something started, get the ball rolling, but it's not the gas, forever, for months and months. You can't willpower your way. You're going to burn out. You need to be smart about this pattern. And the reason we need to be smart about this pattern is that emotional eating is a coping mechanism, which means it is an automatic pattern that comes up for most of us, or we feel, it just kind of takes us over. So many women tell me, and I was the same way, we feel like we're just being taken over by this pattern. And when we feel like we're taken over by this pattern, we don't have control. And the reason is that when a pattern is automatic, it's subconscious, it lives in the body, and you could think of our mind as, let's say, being 100%. And we don't like to think about our body as our mind, but whenever we think something repetitively, it gets to be subconscious and automatic. Think about driving a car. And when we're very young, where this pattern develops, so, all the way to the age of 7 or so, we're like sponges absorbing patterns around us. We can't cognitively say, nope, I don't want to do this. Yes, I want to do this. It's sort of ingrained in us. We're just modeling behavior. And so for a lot of us that are emotional eaters, the modeling we got was that something was wrong with our emotions. We either saw our parents not deal with theirs, not help us regulate our nervous system or move through this discomfort. And so that's sort of the pattern we're taking in. And we needed a way to also soothe ourselves from that discomfort. And so we start using food to soothe. And this pattern becomes really automatic. And like I said, if we think of the mind as 100%, 95% is subconscious, and the body plays out these subconscious patterns are triggered. And so we're watching ourselves do the actions of getting the food, eating it. And the 5% of our conscious mind that's watching this or is aware after, or the 5% of us that doesn't want this pattern, wants to have a healthier relationship to food and our body, or just wants to be free of this and have relief, 5% is not a big challenge for 95% if you think about it in terms of power. And this is why we have to be smart about this pattern, because even in that subconscious, the pattern is playing out there, but all of our resistance and all of the things that go against what we want to consciously change are in this bigger part of us. And so we have to be smart about this. And so this is why when I work with clients, we are including the body. It's not just a mindset. Each of these things have a place. So if you're looking at mindset and changing the way you look at things, if you have zero resistance, you can change things pretty easily and take in a new belief and have education around nutrition and your body and your emotions, and that can kind of come in. But when it comes to taking action and you're so resistant, there's a deeper pattern at play. And so if we just look at emotional eating, it's a coping mechanism. And so if we were to just stop ourselves from eating in that moment, what are we going to do instead? Because this coping mechanism, it's protecting us, it's soothing us, it's helping us numb, it's helping us not look at discomfort from scary things. So we have to work with it and actually get to the roots of this in the body, really resolve this pattern, feel safe in a new way forward. And that requires certain steps if we weren't modeled this at a young age. So those people that have this easeful and effortless way of being with food, they were modeled something differently. And it just happened to emboss itself into their nervous system, into their body, and they don't have to think about it. And you're the same way with emotional eating. You don't have to think about it, but you don't want to be that way because it's an unhealthy way of a being, because now you see how it impacts your body, maybe your self-esteem, your confidence, your life. It's impacting you. And so how do we work with this pattern? So I mentioned if we need some mindset, we need deeper tools to get into those resistance and those traumas and unresolved emotions and the coping mechanism in the body. And we need that support so that this is not just, as we're making change, the way change goes, when we're changing something that we're not used to, our body will feel unsafe. And we need to have things in place, accountability, support to help us move through changes that we might subconsciously feel afraid of making. And so we need a really gentle approach to that. And this is why when we work through and resolve the emotional eating pattern, it's not just about you, using one tool or another. We're using different tools. We're looking at this in a really multi-layered way and really getting into the root, because when we get to the root and meet your true needs, your body is going to see the truth of that beyond your protective mechanisms and allow you to move forward in a more easeful way and no longer go to food, because we'll actually tangibly feel like food doesn't fill that void and it doesn't do that thing it's been doing my whole life, but it has a place. So how do we work through this? So inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program, we're working through this in layers. So we need to rebuild a healthier relationship to food, your body, and your emotions. They all play a part in this. And even though this pattern started off as a coping mechanism, now we have other limitations and resistances with the way we look at food, with the way we treat our body, because we are going after this goal of wanting acceptance. Overall, we want to control food in our body to kind of look a certain way, be in a body we feel comfortable with, to be acceptable. And if we go back to the original root of this pattern around why we created this coping mechanism, was because we weren't seen, heard, validated. We weren't understood in how we were feeling, what was going on in our life. We were left to have to figure it out ourselves, when we really needed our parents or caregivers there to really provide that validation and acceptance for us. And now we're sort of in this deeper way chasing that. And so we need to move through these layers and shift them from this unhealthy way of being to a healthier way of being, which also shifts our nervous system, our body, from survival, which is a stress response, to thriving, which is calm and rest and digest. And so we're doing this around food, our body, and our emotions. So around food, we're shifting from this restrictive way of being with food, which triggers emotional eating, to this more abundant way that's nourishing the body. We're seeing where our triggers are coming up, and we're sort of in this more abundant way of being with food. It doesn't mean when our body is in this healthier state, in this rest and digest, this calmer state, we actually shift from disease, which is a stress state, from digestive issues, from weight gain, to having a calmer nervous system. We're going to have better energy, better digestion, release weight that we don't need because our stress levels are going to be lower. We're shifting from punishing and pushing our body, thinking that's what we need to do, to actually understanding our body's rhythms, honoring our body, really connecting to our true worth. And that's going to shift us from this criticizing way is a stress response. And pushing and overworking at the gym is a stress response, which actually does the opposite of what we want it to do. And shifting our body to a thriving way where we're supporting our body, we're honoring its rhythms, rituals, its energy, its movement. And that's going to shift into a calmer nervous system. And then we're also looking at those triggered emotions. So emotional eating is a coping mechanism. And so emotions are triggered in this pattern, and we go to food to soothe. So we're really looking at those deeper emotions, processing, integrating them at a body level so that we can create a new way forward. We can actually meet our true needs instead of coping, which shifts us into a calmer nervous system. Will actually tangibly feel that stress reduce. So, when you're stressed out and your shoulders are up, when we shift our nervous system, you will physically feel at ease and peace in your body. And when our nervous system is in this calmer state, what happens is that we have more vision, we have more clarity. So our brain switches from survival mode to thriving mode, and we have more perception, we have more ease, we can make better decisions, and just move forward. So we're shifting here. And so this is how the body plays a key role, and how we can use it as information that we're going in the right direction. Sometimes it's a little bit nuanced because we can feel fear, and when that comes up, we shrink back, and that's telling us there's something there to be looked at. So if we're afraid of shifting the way we relate to food or our body or our emotions, that's telling us we're still in survival. We need to find that way that's going to be calming to us, because that's the actual state we need to be in to optimize our health, to feel at ease in our body, to feel more peace of mind, to feel at ease around food, confidence, have self-esteem. And so this is so powerful when we do this work on all of these levels. We're not just putting in new thoughts, we're actually tangibly seeing how it feels in the body and going deeper and resolving those deeper issues in the body. So this is how we really shift, and why we need an approach that includes all of us. So not just us mentally, but us emotionally and physically, to really resolve this pattern on all levels and to come back to a state of calm and health. So we do this inside of the Emotional Eating Evolution program. It's a step-by-step process. We're moving through these areas, food, body, and emotions, really looking at this, but you have tons of support, coaching, accountability, these in-depth somatic meditations to get to the root so that we're shifting this pattern. The support and accountability is going to be amazing. So whenever you meet that resistance or this sort of, panic or fear comes up, you can move through that, because it's a natural part of the process of growth and shifting into this new way. Your body is so used to being in survival, it's afraid of actually thriving and feeling ease. And that's where we want to go. And so you need that support and guidance to move in that direction. So if you're interested in the program, I'll put the link below. If you would like to see if the program's a fit for you, you can also book an emotional eating clarity call if this is resonating. So on the call, we find out more about you, what you've tried, and what your vision is. And we can chat about if and how we can support you in the program. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.